Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. The Golden State Warriors are 3-0 to start the season, and they're without several key pieces, particularly Klay Thompson and James Wiseman, but mainly Klay Thompson, getting off to a 3-0 start, playing teams like the Los Angeles Lakers, the Los Angeles Clippers, and the Sacramento Kings last night on the road. These are three really solid wins. I mean, the Warriors legitimately have a shot this season. And what's crazy is this is something we were talking about all offseason. Like, don't sleep on the Warriors, right? Let's not sleep on the Warriors. And then what ends up happening? Preseason, you have the breakout of guys like Jordan Poole, and it's like, hold up. The moves the Warriors made in the offseason, the progression from last year to this year, the draft picks they acquired, like, they're working with something really special. I really like what Bob Myers did this past offseason in the free agency realm, particularly that Otto Porter signing. But we'll talk about that here in just a second. If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to massage that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you're new here. We are, I think, 40 subscribers away from 8.6k subs. I'm trying to hit 10,000 by the end of the year. So every like, every comment, it really helps out the algorithm. I want to start off the video actually with a quote from Stephen A. Smith because he agrees. This was his quote. If Klay Thompson comes back healthy, the Warriors might win it all. I really mean it. I'm not playing with anybody. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter God ever created. I don't care what anybody says. There has never, ever been a dude off the dribble, standing still, from the key, from wings, from the corner, 20, 30, 40, and sometimes 50 feet. This brother is unbelievable, okay? When I think about him and I think about Klay coming back, who is one of the top 5 shooters in the history of basketball, then we think about the rest of the crew. I'm looking at Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins. He's no slouch. He's shown up thus far. I agree fully. I'm thinking about Wiseman coming back. I'm thinking about the pickup of Otto Porter Jr., who coaches have been telling me. They've been raving to me about him. So it's not just me. It's not just us. Like, a lot of people agree that the Golden State Warriors have a legitimate chance this year, and it really starts with Steph Curry, obviously. I mean, this season, last night, it wasn't his best night shooting the ball, but it definitely wasn't his worst. What I really like I'm seeing from Steph Curry this season is, I mean, obviously he's averaging 31 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. That's kind of goes to it. If he's not shooting the ball particularly well, like last night, 4 of 15 from downtown, 9 of 23 from the field. So not horrible, but definitely not good. 10 assists. Like, you're just seeing he's facilitating board, he's getting rebounds. Like, this is a Steph Curry who has a chip on his shoulder. He knows that the time is now. He knows his window and the gap is closing for this Warriors dynasty to still win another ring, and he's making good use of it. But here's the thing is it's not just him. You're having a lot of guys like Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins. These guys are stepping up. We all saw Jordan Poole really break out in the preseason, but you can't really break out in the preseason. So maybe a better word would be we all had our eyes on Jordan Poole in the preseason when he's dropping like 30 points per night. Started to get it going a little bit last year. What I really like Jordan Poole is he's averaging 17 points per game, and something that was always like been a big critique of Jordan Poole is if he's not shooting the ball well from downtown, I mean, he's done. Like, he's toast. And in the past season, what would happen, what Steve Kerr would do is if Jordan Poole comes into the game and he is ice cold, I mean, they'll just sub him out. They can't really, or I mean, they could do that right now, but not only are they a little bit more limited currently, obviously with Klay being a little, I mean, he's not healthy yet. So you have limited options, but also Jordan Poole is really taking a step up just in his playmaking ability. Last night, 23 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 8 of 16 from the field, 2 of 5 from downtown. So what Jordan Poole is starting to do now is if that 3 ball isn't falling, he just gets a little bit more aggressive. He starts going to the paint. He starts trying to set his teammates up, and that's exactly exactly what Warriors basketball is. That's exactly what they needed. I felt like last year some of the guys in the starting lineup, once Steph Curry came back, it was like some of them just didn't even know what to do. That is definitely not Jordan Poole. Next up, Andrew Wiggins. I mean, last night, 17 points, 4 rebounds, 6 of 13 from the field, 2 of 5 from downtown. I've always agreed with the statement Andrew Wiggins is, I mean, he's severely overpaid, let's be real here, but he's underrated. I mean, Andrew Wiggins is extremely underrated. He was drafted very, very high from the Cleveland Cavaliers, gets traded to the Timberwolves, was never really in a good situation, comes to the Golden State Warriors last year, finally gets like a good defensive coach, a good coach, let's just be real, and you can see it. I mean, you can see the emergence of Andrew Wiggins kind of coming into his established self. Andrew Wiggins is playing more of like a Harrison Barnes role. Now that you have guys like Jordan Poole on this roster, they're no longer like heavily relying on Andrew Wiggins to get it going offensively. So he's able to pick his shots a little bit better. He's able to have more open shots. Sometimes he'll just get forgotten about. Say Steph Curry's driving to the lane, you want to get another body on him. I think Andrew Wiggins, just all around, this is the perfect year for him to continue to break out and really establish himself in the league as like, I mean, he's a super solid two-way player. I don't think a lot of people outside of Warriors fans really recognize that. Lastly, the depth. I mean, the depth is still very solid. Kevon Looney started the season off a little bit slow, got it going last night. Got James Wiseman coming back soon, hopefully. Draymond Green last night, 14.6 rebounds, 6 assists, 6 of 12 from the field. I know that Coach Steve Kerr wants him to get a little bit more involved on the offensive end. And defensively, we're witnessing this year that he still got it. Like, he hasn't lost a step. Maybe a half a step on the offensive end, but then you'll see a game like last night where he really was just way more aggressive than he has been in the previous 2 games, where it's like, oh, okay, Draymond, maybe it just took him a couple of games to warm up offensively. So he's still looking elite. He's looking dominant on the defensive end specifically. And then you have guys like Otto Porter Jr., who they can crash rebounds, they can play defense, they can guard different positions. Having a guy like Otto Porter Jr., a healthy Otto Porter Jr., it's a game changer. And I think a lot of people are going to realize that here, especially in the next couple of weeks. Jalika, phenomenal pickup, phenomenal signing. Damian Lee, it's just kind of a good rock for this Warriors bench. If you need a bucket, you can give it to Damian Lee. Gary Payton II. I mean, this is crazy. It's not crazy for Gary Payton fans because they knew this was coming. He's the 15th man on the rotation, on the roster. Last night, 10 points, 4 of 6 from the field, 2 of 2 from downtown. Steve Kerr is super high on him. This is a guy who, yeah, you might not need the 15th man every night, but there's also going to be some nights where you do need that 15th man, and last night was one of them, and he definitely showed out. So this Warriors team, they're looking really good. They're looking really scary, and once they get their pieces back, whew, they're going to be even more fun to watch. So that's it for today, guys. Once again, massage that like button for me, get that algorithm pumping, and hit that sub button if you're new here. If you're a reoccurring subscriber, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys really keep this going, and that's why we're able to do this every day. So peace.